It was a busy end of the week for the candidates running for president. Vice President Kamala Harris participated in her first sit-down interview since taking over for President Biden in the race. That interview was a joint interview with vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. It was on CNN. And former President Trump participated in a town hall moderated by former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. That happened in Wisconsin. Joining us now to discuss the presidential race, Republican strategist Matt Klink and Democratic political strategist Mike Trujillo. Mike, we got the interview this past week with Vice President Harris and her pick for VP, the VP nominee. This is something that has been talked about in the media circles. Quick response from you guys right off the top here because we have a lot to talk about. Mike, I'll start with you. How do you think the VP did? Did she move the needle either way?
I mean, she's going to be doing dozens of these interviews between now and Election Day. This was just a checking off the box interview. For whatever reason, Republicans hyped it up and made it a big deal. And now it's just normal. And, she's going to be doing these across the country from here to Election Day. So, it was a normal interview, normal answers, much ado about nothing, and time to move on. All
right, Matt, Republican, did you hype it up? Well, respond to that.
If past is prologue, she'll do one more before Election Day. It was a big flop. She didn't fail, so we give her credit for that. And she needed her emotional support governor by her side to make sure that she felt warm and fuzzy. But it was not a lot of people watched it, and I don't think they came away with anything new from her.
All right, hot takes right off the top. Let's talk about some polling because we have some new polling out this week from our partners at The Hill and Emerson College. We all know the role California plays in this election. Californians, Democrats, proud that the vice president, of course, is from this state. But this state is not going to decide this election. We've talked about the states that will: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada. We have polling out from these states. And guys, it's close, very, very close, within the margin of error. We've talked about this for, weeks now, a couple weeks since everything changed with Joe Biden. But Mike, what do you think the vice president has to do to win over those independents, male voters that she seems to be struggling with?
Well, let's be clear. From the time President Biden dropped out to today, Democratic Party fortunes are through the roof in terms of where they were a month and a half ago. We're seeing Kamala put a lot of these battleground states back into play. We're seeing mid-single digits between her and Donald Trump in Florida, something we would not have imagined 6 weeks ago. We're seeing California do its part in giving Democrats in the House and the Senate and Kamala Harris the financial resources necessary to have that edge. That way there's more door knockers, more TV ads, more digital ads out there. And that's what's gonna be the difference between now and Election Day. And this edge that we've created was something that was just not in the plan 6-7 weeks ago. So I would add we just got to do more of the same and continue to put her out there and get her message across to the American voters.
I think this is the year there was a lot of discussions, do debates matter anymore leading into this election year? And we could say they were very consequential because that's what led to the calls for Joe Biden to step aside. But I wonder about this debate coming up on September 10th. Mike, how significant do you think this is for both candidates?
I think in terms of the number of eyeballs watching this debate, it's going to be up there with Tyson versus Holyfield. You're going to have a record number of eyeballs watching this. We saw a really substantial portion of the country watching both the RNC and the DNC conventions. The amount of interest, the amount of energy that is now behind Kamala Harris is something that just was not in the books. But I agree with Matt. 2024 polling is better for Trump than it was in 2020 and 2016. But in the last 8 weeks, we've, moved the needle in a real way in 8 or 9 different battleground states and across the country. So this debate, honestly, I will say is very consequential.
Matt, what does Donald Trump need to do in this debate, in your opinion?
Believe it or not, Nikki, I think that the rule changes that Joe Biden so shrewdly negotiated are going to end up helping Donald Trump. The fact that the mics won't be live, Kamala Harris's people tried to change that. They also didn't feel comfortable with her standing. They wanted her to be seated, and they wanted a scripted opening and notes. None of that's allowed. So we're going to see Kamala Harris on her own, standing up there in front of a podium, squaring off with Donald Trump. And I think it's going to be must-see TV. Everyone's going to want to watch it. And they're going to be, look, mistakes like what Joe Biden did in or a couple months ago in June, it don't happen very often. So I wouldn't think that there will be any colossal errors on either side, but little nuances or misstatements by either side are going to create a big kerfuffle in the campaign, and it's going to hopefully give one side or the other momentum to move forward. But yeah, it's going to have a huge audience.
All right. Well, we will debrief after that debate. That's for sure. So I'm committing you guys to being back on the show that week. But we appreciate your analysis. As always, Michael Trujillo and Matt Klink, thanks for your time here on Inside California Politics.
Thank you.